So, we are going to have some fun today because that is what wrestling is all about. Also means I get to do the dance of joy. Look at those hips fly. You may have noticed that Drew McIntyre hasn't been on TV recently, and although it sounds like he may be about to return to WWE, well, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, on one side, people have said that he had to go away to heal up because he had a bunch of injuries. And good. Did you see how hard Drew McIntyre was going? He deserves a rest. Oh, hello there, my friends. Simon here from the future, or the present. Basically, past Simon didn't realize that Drew McIntyre was going to return at Money in the Bank, so I just wanted to give you a quick update. Because of course he is back on TV, but according to the rumor mill, he still hasn't signed a new contract, so we have to continue to wait and see. Let's carry on with the video. On the other though, there is this idea that maybe, just maybe, Mr. McIntyre isn't very happy with how WWE sees him or his creative, and that his contract is coming due in but a few months. So of course everybody then starts going, oh my gosh, what if the Scottish Warrior does leave, and what if he does go to AEW? And if that were to happen, even in an alternative universe, here's how I think we should go about it. Now, first and foremost, no, he is not going to turn up at AEW All In. I know it's in Wembley, and I know it's in London, and I know it's going to be a seismic event, but at the very least, his contract runs to early 2024, or so says the internet, so I all just think we have to calm down. I know, but I want it, Simon. Well, you want a lot of things, you can't have it. What we do have to put back in our brains, though, is that Drew McIntyre is big time. I think this is half the problem. People do forget it. I mean, not only has he been a multiple-time world champion, not only was he a massive deal when the WWE was in the pandemic, but without him, would Clash at the Castle have been as successful as it was? No, it wouldn't have. I've also met him and can tell you firsthand he's massive. He's like 6'5" and he's ripped, plus he can go in the ring. So if you were trying to build a pro wrestler from the ground up, or maybe you build Drew McIntyre. I mean, he doesn't even need to be at the top of the card to still smash it, because let's go back to WrestleMania 39, when we had Drew versus Sheamus versus Gunther for the Intercontinental title. Not only did it get the fabled 5 stars in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, but it was just damn good. And if you like big men, slapping man meat, well, this could be number 1. Drew also has this magic to him, because if he did jump to AEW, everybody would love him. If he jumped back to WWE, everybody would lump him. And even when he was doing the jumping, people would still love it. I think this really ties into that time he did go away from WWE, or at least got released, because what did the man do? He came out as Drew Galloway, he totally smashed the independent scene. So everyone was like, oh man, he is super passionate about sports entertainment. And also, if you kept an eye on him, he just got better and better and better and better. And I think this is actually the reason why WWE were desperate to sign him back, because he was doing Cody Rhodes before Cody Rhodes was doing Cody Rhodes. Because essentially, McIntyre or Galloway would turn up at an indie promotion, they would get a big boost, they would sell more tickets, then he'd do it somewhere else, and he even had that little stint in Impact Wrestling, just as he was about to go New Japan, World Wrestling Entertainment, or like that. Just get him back through the door, will ya? We made an error. So once again, you're gonna have to search for Drew Galloway on the internet if you want to see these things, but the guy hasn't changed. So no matter where he turns up, he's gonna sit down with the person and say, listen, I think I deserve to be right in the main event. Because he does. So let's just double back round to the Wembley show for 1 second, because no, Drew Galloway can't debut there, but I tell you what he can do. If all of a sudden AEW is trying to get a foothold in the United Kingdom, do you know what a great way to keep that momentum going is? Get a United Kingdom British guy and make him one of the cornerstones of your company. And don't act like this WWE shine won't mean anything. It will mean the world, much like it did for Cody when he went back to WWE. And just because I enjoy chaos, I would have Drew turn up in AEW, I'd have him turn on a dime, become a mega heel, and just be a massive asshole. I mean, hunt down Kenny Omega, Claymore kick, here we go. But the story doesn't even need to be that deep, because many a time Kenny has said, I am the measuring stick when it comes to pro wrestling. So Galloway can just walk in and go, oh, right, well, you think you're the top guy, do ya? Well, I'm here, I'm about to destroy you. In that first angle, he probably would. There's also other people you could do this with too. I mean, there's Hangman Adam Page, there's Adam Cole, and there's Darby Allin. And you may scoff at that one, but I will tell you right now, I need to see it, because Darby may die. Plus, if you do just want to go the other way, which does make sense, you trying to tell me you don't want to see MJF versus Drew McIntyre? I mean, the story is looking at you right in the face. McIntyre, Galloway just gets a microphone and says, oh, Maxwell, you think you're going to go to WWE in 2024? I tell you right now, you're going to fail. I am also a massive nerd, so if we did do Chris Jericho or John Moxley versus Drew, I would just laugh away. because they were in the same damn company for such a long time, to the point I never envisioned that they could have a scuffle in any other promotion. Here we are in 2023, and they could do it, and they could still do it on big-time TV. Oodalally. There's also the very curious situation of CM Punk, because I don't think Drew and CM Punk have ever crossed paths, which means it's intriguing, and we can just go back to basic maths. Who always has good matches? We've established this Drew McIntyre, and who else does this week in, week out on Dynamite and Rampage and Collision? That's right, it's Orange Cassidy. So once again, you can put your hands together, especially if you did make Drew McIntyre a bad guy. I promise you, much like at Forbidden Door 1 when Cassidy took on Will Ospreay, this would totally blow your mind. And as silly as it does sound, this is quite a lazy comparison, but Drew McIntyre / Galloway could even become AEW's version of Roman Reigns. I mean, if he did become the world champion, he could hold that title for ages. We know he could have a bunch of good feuds with everybody, and in a year and a half, 2 years, he would be at the tippity top, and everybody would just start buying into it. And once again, when he does arrive, he'll have that, oh my gosh, he switched sides magic. And we haven't really had that massively from WWE to AEW yet, so when we do, blow your socks off. I think that is why we're chatting about this in the first place, because Drew McIntyre does understand his worth. Maybe, just maybe, WWE doesn't. I mean, this also goes back to Chris Jericho. One of the reasons he went to AEW is because he realized, man, I am always going to be slotted in here if I do hang around with World Wrestling Entertainment. And this boy was completely right, because now he's up here. I mean, it's probably further, but if I raise my hand, it'll be out of the camera. This is why they're going back and forth on creative, and I bet Drew does feel a little bit aggrieved, because again, when no fans could come in the building, he kind of held the company on his back, and when he won that first World Championship against Brock Lesnar, he did it in a warehouse. That's not fair on anybody. Because think about it, all the blood, all the sweat, all the tears, and then into the big box room you go. Ultimately, if you did put a gun to my head, I'd tell you to calm down, because I'm happy to talk about wrestling. No, I don't actually think that Drew McIntyre will go to AEW, because I do think him and WWE will figure it out. This is mostly because, if I had to guess, I would assume that McIntyre sees WWE as the big pond, and he wants to be the biggest shark. The irony is, in All Elite Wrestling, he could be the entire pond, but I digress. It's also why I'm so interested in this, especially because McIntyre can't lose. If he stays in WWE, I'm sure he can negotiate himself a position where he does become a 3-time world champion, and like I keep on saying, if he goes to AEW, he will be presented like such a big star, and he'll make that bag. It also means that more dominoes will continue to fall, and I want these dominoes to fall. I'm still not totally over Cody Rhodes going back to WWE, so if Drew McIntyre then came to AEW, and then maybe MJF goes to WWE, and then, I don't know, Jey Uso pops up on Collision, like it's not going to happen, but the more people that do it, the more I dare to dream. And that's another reason why I do love all this competition, because it just makes it so damn fun. Once again, because people do go crazy, I want to reiterate, no, I think Drew McIntyre will stay with WWE. I think he will come back as a heel. I think he will feud with Seth Rollins. There's nothing on my wrist, I don't know what I'm doing. I actually think he will be the second World Heavyweight Champion, in the sense he'll be the second person to hold that belt ever since it got reintroduced. What? That is what we should do too. Again, he had 2 ridiculous reigns when there was no one to even go, yeah, Drew, or boo, we think you suck. We will count down to something happening. I'm going to bet it's a big old deal. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know what you think about all of this. Do you want Drew McIntyre to go to AEW? Should he stay in WWE? And if he did make the jump, how would you book him? You're Tony Khan, you're Vince McMahon right now. You get to make the decisions. Also, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which will be another Why video, so we can have another chat about professional wrestling. And go to whatculture.com, where we'll keep up to date with all the latest wrestling news, including what Drew McIntyre is going to do. Of course, we're on social media, 2023. Simon of 316, What Culture WWE, come and say hello. Not like that. My name is Simon What Culture, thank you very much for joining me as always. And given that the rumour now is that Drew McIntyre may be back at Money in the Bank, and given that Seth Rollins is probably going to beat Finn Balor at Money in the Bank, well, push your buttocks together, ladies and gentlemen. I think I know what our big next program is, and I'm locking myself in and feeling the G's, because I am pumped. Let myself down. Goodbye.